YouTube. What the freak? My fault. I just got a notification that went off in my ear. That just blew my whole intro. Lay around the back. What Jay's gonna be like? Hey, YouTube, what it do, man? It's your boy Benji. We back in between the ropes. If you are new, please don't forget to subscribe. I got to thank y'all. Dude, just say the word. We can bring in for another hug. We over 700 subscribers. Are you mods? Dude, shout out to y'all for real. We making it happen. I do appreciate each and every one of y'all. It's pushing me and motivating me to drop more content. So, we're going to talk about what we're doing today. I kind of wanted to reminisce about WWE in the time way back yonder, man. This video is titled WWE in 2025 versus WWE in 2005. Shout out to Wrestle Mafia. Let's get it.
Let me take you back in time, 20 years ago. It's the summer of 2005. You come back home after a long day of school or work, turn on the TV, and you're immediately greeted by this. Now get the cards from my generation. Just like that, you're instantly teleported into this wild, unpredictable world of the WWE where anything could happen on any given night. You've got names like The Undertaker, Batista, John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, Eddie Guerrero, and so many more legends all in their prime at the same time.
Bro, think about it, dude. These time was so crazy because we really had a bunch of legends in the making. And I think I'm not going to be the one that's going to be a little bit revisionist with the history, but at the end of the day, these dudes were the star players, even at that time. Like, dude, these were some of my favorite wrestlers at that time. Like, a lot of the roster was getting a lot of TV time, at least in comparison to what we're seeing today. We're seeing the same guys on TV each and every day, each and every week. Even at least the small name guys, the jobbers, they go out there at least get whooped, but at least got some TV time. Let me know if I'm tripping.
WWE at that time was very competitive. We pushed the hell out of each other.
Every single week felt like must-see TV because you genuinely had no idea what chaos was about to unfold.
2005 is coming, man.
While today's WWE
like
has bigger
07,
production
08,
values
09.
and more polished presentation, many fans still argue that WWE in 2005 was way more entertaining than it is
Let's
today.
hear the truth.
Stories hit different, the characters felt real, the feuds made you actually care, and it was one of the most exciting times to be a WWE fan. But what made WWE in 2005 so special, and how does it really compare to WWE in 2025? Is it just nostalgia clouding our judgment as fans, or was there actually something magical about that era? Was 2005 truly the last great year of the Ruthless Aggression era?
Ruthless aggression.
Let's take a trip down memory lane and find out together.
The stories. Let's
In
check
the year
it.
2005, WWE was at its absolute peak when it came to storylines and blood feuds. And I'm not just talking about the main event scene. Everything from the top of the card to the mid-card was packed with personal vendettas and rivalries that had
The Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship had some weight.
fans glued to their TVs every single week.
I could say, though, we could be looking at this a little bit differently because of the rating. I think the PG era did change wrestling as a whole, but I can't even argue that too much because I think it's tough for a lot of us to get behind blood feuds knowing that these dudes are like holding back language. They're not going to be overly physical in order to try and retain that PG rating.
Take the Undertaker and Randy Orton rivalry, for example. On one hand, you had the hungry young legend killer who was determined to make a name for himself at any cost. And on the other hand, you had the cornerstone of the WWE protecting his yard and his legacy. But this wasn't just some random one-off story. The build was personal, and Orton crossed every limit in his pursuit of greatness. First, Orton showed the lengths he was willing to go after he attacked his own girlfriend and laid her out with an RKO.
Yeah, forgot about that.
Then came the WrestleMania match where Orton pulled out every move, every counter in his book, only to fall victim to The Undertaker's legendary streak. But after Taker beat him at Mania, Orton went completely off the rails. He came back even more unhinged. First, he defeated Taker at SummerSlam, again at No Mercy, and then proceeded to put the dead man in a casket and literally set it on fire. These are the lengths wrestlers were willing to go back in the day.
That look was fear, Undertaker. Fear because you saw into your future.
When Taker emerged from that same burning casket at Survivor Series like some kind of supernatural phoenix, the crowd went absolutely insane. That
Undertaker was
storytelling that makes you
OD, bro.
believe in the magic of wrestling. But this wasn't even the top story in the company in 2005.
That is crazy. Bro, the Undertaker, like, bro, if you would have told me the Undertaker was actually not a dead man, didn't have supernatural powers, I would have said you crazy.
You also
maybe
had
I was
the
just a kid. I
slow
don't
burn
know.
masterpiece that was Triple H
Yeah.
versus Batista. This wasn't just a simple face turn. This was 2 years of build-up where Batista gradually realized he was nothing more than Triple H's muscle in evolution. The thumbs up, thumbs down moment on Raw where Batista had to choose between going to SmackDown or staying on Raw to challenge his mentor was absolute cinema. When he finally powerbombed Triple H through that table, it felt like this massive moment of liberation. Their matches at WrestleMania, Backlash, and their Hell in a Cell match at Vengeance was an absolute war that cemented Batista as a legit main event star for years to come. But maybe the craziest storyline of 2005 was the Edge, Matt Hardy, and Lita
that was them years!
This was real-life drama bleeding into on-screen storyline.
No lie, Vince was sick. That's true. This was real deal, real spiel that bled into wrestling.
The most uncomfortable way possible. Edge legitimately had an affair with Matt's real-life girlfriend, Lita.
So
WWE
crazy.
fired Matt Hardy for it.
And the WWE can kiss my ass.
Fans kept chanting for Matt at every show, and when the situation reached its peak, WWE brought Matt back so they could turn this real-life drama into television gold. The line between reality and kayfabe completely disappeared. When Matt attacked Edge on that episode of Raw, commentators didn't know how to react to what was happening because it felt too real.
And Lita, you whore, I'm gonna make your life miserable too.
Edge and Lita ruining Matt's life while making out in front of the world was peak heel work that made you genuinely hate them. But this was...
Bro, facts though. Edge was evil, bro, back in the day. And he was doing some sick stuff. I get it. I think there's plenty of instances of things that he did on TV that we could look back at and be like, yo, even though it was sick, I think it would still made the PG moments. Like, I think him marrying Vicky Guerrero was like sick and twisted, but it did work for who he was at the time. The ultimate opportunities, man.
It wasn't the only personal story going on in the WWE in 2005. You also had Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, which started as a friendship that slowly deteriorated into pure psychological warfare. Eddie couldn't handle being second best to Rey, so he snapped and beat the hell out of his former tag team partner. But Eddie didn't stop there. He went full psychopath mode. He involved Rey's 7-year-old son, Dominic. It all culminated in a ladder match at SummerSlam, where 2 grown men fought for custody of a child. That's the kind of unhinged storytelling that would never fly today.
Facts. But true, that's why I say, in some sense, we gotta be cognizant of what like they're trying to get, like the sponsorships they got, FC Airwaves. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these programs I think are more reliant on sponsorships and everything like that nowadays.
Though it was wild, though it was wacky, it had a soul. It had a heart that made you connect with these wrestlers as humans.
And I think the way he presented it too was like it was a world of wrestling. I think that's kind of what the biggest thing was. It immersed you into this, where it was like kind of pseudo real. Where you're like, dude, you got people that can conjure up magic, and you had the boogeyman, you had dudes like that were just insane and unhinged. But it was a sphere in which these people actually existed, the world where they actually existed. And that was like kind of interesting that you could kind of tap into that, and you'd be able to see it on screen. But additionally, you can go in person and see these dudes.
Had stakes that made you care about what happened next on every show. And through all of this chaos, you had John Cena's rise from a rapper character to the face of the WWE. Cena's battles against the likes of JBL, Chris Jericho, and Edge solidified him as a legit main event star on the Red brand, and the Chain Gang leader was ready to step up as the marquee player of the WWE. Now compare all of that to 2025. Don't get me wrong, today's WWE tells some great stories. The Bloodline saga with Roman Reigns was incredible
Not in 2025.
television for years. Cody Rhodes' journey to finish his story was beautifully executed.
Not in 2025.
Drew McIntyre's rivalry against CM Punk was compelling, but
Not in 2025.
here's the thing. Most of today's stories feel safe. They're well produced, they make logical sense, but they don't have that raw, unpredictable edge that made 2005 special. In 2005, wrestlers hated each other so much they'd light each other on fire. They'd fight over custody of children. Real-life drama would spill onto television in ways that made you question what was real and what wasn't. Today's feuds are more about professional rivalry and championship aspirations. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes had great matches, but did you ever truly believe they wanted to destroy each other's lives? The production values are better now. Sure, the matches are more technically sound, but something got lost in translation. That raw emotion, that willingness to go completely off the deep end for the sake of a story, that's what made 2005 feel special. Every feud felt personal. Every match felt like it mattered. Every week, someone was doing something completely insane that would
And you know what? That's actually a good point too. A lot of these feuds and fights, they just happen because I just disagree with you. I completely fundamentally disagree with you, and you are inhibited to where I'm supposed to get to. So even though we're not fighting for a championship, I just hate you. And that hate can, like, it's not easy to make that spill out into a match on the main event scene, especially on a big time pay-per-view. It's tough to make that happen. I think that's where the WWE's kind of lost a lot of people nowadays, because it seems as if people are fighting for no reason. It's tough to kind of envelop that raw emotion and have the rest of us feel that if there's no true aspiration behind it. And it doesn't seem like there's enough reasoning for these guys to have this anger behind whatever they're looking for.
Have you talking about it the next day at school or work? That's not nostalgia talking. That's just the difference between storytelling that plays it safe and storytelling that's willing to take massive creative risks. That's the kind of entertainment that put WWE on the map in the first place. Not some corporate manufactured product pandering to a small section of politically correct fans. And the way these stories were presented added an edge to every show that the most well-produced WWE event can't match today. The year 2005 had a wide array of stipulation matches, from casket matches to Money in the Bank to Hell in a Cell to I Quit matches. And it wasn't because they had to put these gimmicks on for spectacle. Every single one made sense from a story perspective. Today, you have wrestlers jumping off ladders and doing insane high spots every other week. But the feeling behind that is completely hollow. There are no stakes. It's just an athletic showcase with no emotional investment.
That's a good point, and I think that's kind of something that we can attribute to just the era that we're in today. I mean, we have social media, so you have more access to promotions. Additionally, you just have more promotions out there, I would argue. So we've seen a lot of these dudes replicate some of the stuff in the backyards. And you can go on YouTube and watch that. So I say that's part of it. So a lot of people don't really feel anything when somebody does a crazy move, but I think it means something when you do a crazy move and you get a feeling behind it. Because, like, dang, like he said, this dude is willing to put this person through a table. The person is willing to set a casket on fire because I just want to see you gone, not because I'm just doing it. You know what I mean?
Eddie and Ray had their ladder match at SummerSlam. You were invested because this was about a father-son relationship and custody of a child.
The custody of a child will be determined in a match.
They weren't doing moonsaults off ladders to pop the crowd. It was a fight to determine who would raise Dominic. Every bump meant something. When Randy Orton fought Taker at WrestleMania, you could feel the desperation of a young superstar trying to prove himself by any means necessary, while Taker represented the undying force who could absorb any amount of punishment to protect his yard. The Hell in a Cell stipulation for their match existed because Orton had literally set The Undertaker on fire.
Somebody get out here! Oh my God! Inferno! Somebody get out here!
And needed to be punished in the most brutal way possible. Compare that to today, where we get ladder matches just because it's Money in the Bank season, or Hell in a Cell just because it's October. The stipulations don't grow organically from the stories anymore. They're just scheduled content to fill pay-per-view themes. Sure, we have better athletes today. We have bigger production budgets, but the feel and raw emotion behind every match is nowhere to be found.
And that's why I want a second too. Kind of like what I was saying about how we see this stuff regularly. It's kind of like akin to, we had to talk about basketball. Bro, you see everybody shooting threes now. So at one point in time when Steph Curry was just so much better than everybody, and he was one of the first people to do it, I think now that we see it regularly, we're not impressed anymore. So somebody makes a deep shot. When Curry was doing it, we're like, oh shoot, that was crazy. He's one of the innovators. Same thing. I think some things that we just saw in 2005, after you continue to see it, it's tough for you to appreciate it the same way in 2025.
And this isn't to say WWE in 2005 didn't have incredible athletic performances. In fact, the Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania can easily hold up against anything today.
Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, that was my dream match.
But even then, there was a story behind it. It was two legends trying to cement their legacy.
You have never had the chance to go to the biggest stage of them all.
The 28 minutes of technical perfection meant something because of the personal rivalry that built to that moment. Every punch, every kick out, every near fall had a meaning behind it. Moves weren't just thrown out, and stipulations weren't just added to fill a calendar.
This whole job, it always winds up in the wrestling ring, in a wrestling match, in a fight, but technically it's really all built on emotion.
Compare that to today, where every match feels like it needs to have 10 finisher kickouts and 5 crazy spots just to get a reaction. In 2005, when someone hit their finisher, it usually ended the match. When someone bled, it felt significant. When someone went through a table, The crowd lost their minds because it didn't happen every single week. In the world of pro wrestling, sometimes less is more, and the presentation in 2005 felt special because everything had weight behind it. Today's WWE is undeniably more athletic and more polished, but it often feels like watching a really good stunt show instead of a blood feud between two people who genuinely hate each other. And a lot of it has to do with the atmosphere of the modern WWE shows in comparison to the shows in 2005. Back in 2005, WWE had this raw, gritty vibe that you just don't get anymore. The theme songs were absolute bangers that got your blood pumping the second you heard them.
He's on the play the game.
The pyro at the start of each show made everything feel like a big deal, and those simple yet iconic stage designs created the perfect atmosphere. The overall aesthetic felt dangerous and unpredictable. The lighting was darker, the camera work was grittier, and everything had this underground Fight Club energy to it. Even the way
that's a good way to explain
it felt more authentic. They looked like real fighters instead of walking advertisements.
What have I been talking about, bro? And that's true in some sense too. If we just look at the people that were on the main event stages, bro, Randy Orton 6'5", 230, right, 240. Batista 6'4", like 270, bro. Triple H huge. Undertaker like 6'9", bro. These dudes are big dudes, so they just look physically imposing. So if somebody slap you or throw you across the ring, you're like, whoa, this dude is huge. Nowadays, bro, we see dudes looking like that. I look like I could beat half of the roster right now. None of these look physically imposing. I don't respect them because, like, and I guess that played into their appearance, bro. Like if Superman came out and dude weighed 120 pounds, no disrespect, brother, we not gonna believe Superman.
Compare that to today's WWE with its LED boards everywhere, pristine HD production, and that sterile corporate feel. Don't get me wrong, the production values are incredible now. The stages are massive, the graphics are crisp, and everything looks like $1 million. But somewhere along the way, WWE lost that raw edge that made it feel special. Today you've got logos plastered on everything. The ring posts, the announce table, even the Money in the Bank briefcase. Corporate sponsors keep screaming that this is all scripted entertainment. You can't escape the feeling that you're watching a carefully manufactured TV product instead of this wild, anything can happen wrestling show. In 2005, WWE still felt like it had some of that Attitude Era DNA left in it. The crowds were louder, the atmosphere was electric, and there was this sense that you were watching something rebellious and counterculture. Now it feels like Disney bought wrestling and cleaned it up for mass consumption. The polish is impressive, but that gritty authenticity is gone. Sometimes the rough edges are what makes something beautiful, and 2005 WWE had rough edges in all the right places. But the biggest factor that made WWE in 2005 special had nothing to do with the production or the matches. One thing that made 2005 so special was that it represented this massive changing of the guard in WWE. From 2001 to 2004, the company was basically coasting on the leftovers from the Attitude Era. The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels were still the main attractions. But those guys were either part-time, injured, or past their prime. But in 2005, new faces like John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, and Edge really took over the main event scene.
Bro, and for at least 5 years after, bro, they locked wrestling down
for good. This wasn't just a temporary push. These guys became the foundation of WWE for the next decade and beyond. Cena went to become a legendary 17-time champion.
John Cena is a 17-time world champion!
And that's what I'll be talking about each and every video. It's been so long since, look about it, 20 years. These dudes are all still wrestling. Like, what? Oh, can we get somebody else some love?
Randy became the apex predator and one of the greatest heels ever. Batista dominated both brands before heading to Hollywood. Edge became the ultimate opportunist and had everyone gunning for his head. The time period was genuinely exciting because we were getting fresh feuds, exciting stories, and wild TV on a regular basis.
Oh, shoot, my fault.
Crazy thing is, we're watching history repeat itself right now. Cena and Randy are on their way out. Cena's doing his farewell tour.
My bad. I didn't even know I was on the full screen.
Time is up. Their time is now, huh?
And Randy's clearly in the twilight of his career.
Kevin Owens just delivered a pile driver to Randy Orton.
We're seeing
Man,
another
injuries are
changing
hurting
of the
them,
guard
man.
with stars like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Drew McIntyre taking over the main event picture. The question is whether the new guard coming up can capture that same magic. You've got incredibly talented guys like Braun Breaker, who has that old school intensity, Dominic Mysterio, who's becoming a legitimate heat magnet, Gunther, who feels like a throwback to when champions actually felt special, and LA Knight, who has that natural charisma you can't teach. Are we heading into another golden age? Will WWE pull the trigger on these new age stars? Will they live up to the standards set by those before them? It's yet to be seen, but one thing is for sure. We might never get that gritty, raw energy that 2005 WWE had. The business has changed too much. Everything is more corporate now, more sanitized, more carefully planned out. But that wild, unpredictable edge where anything could happen and frequently did, that might be gone forever.
2025, WWE is too focused on making revenue. I miss the old days. I absolutely miss the grittiness of 2005 and just old WWE in general. Even by 2009, the gritty feeling was gone and everything felt too clean and sanitized. Honestly, I don't think the believability of 05 will work today in today's age. Everybody's on the internet. No facts, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's just insider turns, like heel turns, shoot work, etc. I saw a dude wearing a WWE shirt in public the other day, and we were talking about John Cena's heel turn and Jey Uso's getting a big push. It's still surreal to me how you can have smart Mark talk with everyone nowadays. The WWE Unreal documentary is literally WWE folding over and telling the entire world this is a shoe. Heart and Soul, 2025, it's soulless. The Ruthless Aggression era feels like the last real era in WWE. At least Triple H took over. And even then, it took like a year or two for things to fully change. From 08 to 2024, everything in WWE felt the same. I went my entire teenage and young adult years with WWE feeling the same. WWE changed so much from 97 to 05. It felt like 3 lifetimes. Yet WWE, during the entire 2010s, felt the same, even with different faces. And on top of it, felt like the show and presentation was the exact same. 08, 09? I think it was a straight 08 and 09, y'all. Dang. Let me know what y'all think.